Hey, I'm Mike Baccarella, and today we're going to take a look at a line that Joe Pass plays on How High the Moon from his Virtuoso record, and we're going to let that line serve as our introduction to enclosures. Let's take a look. So this line happens over a G major 7 chord. And if we break this line down to its simplest components, all we have is a fifth, a root, a fifth, a root, and then another fifth. And then the other notes are just serving to kind of tonicize or make those other chord tones sound stronger. And so what happens is we take a scale tone above, a half step below, and then the note from the chord. And this is what's referred to as an enclosure. And you'll find this all over the place in bebop playing. So, guys like Charlie Parker and guys that descended from that lineage, this is a big part of their playing. This is a big part of getting that sound of jazz and bebop. All we're doing is just surrounding a chord tone. Usually it's a scale tone above and a half step below. Scale tone above, half step below. So an exercise to get this into our playing, something that Jody Fisher showed me years ago, is we're going to take our arpeggio. In this case, we're going to just do a G major triad. And we're going to finger every note with our second finger. Now you notice I kind of used the whole range of the guitar to show that it's possible to move this around. Now when you practice this, you probably want to practice it one position at a time and then gradually combine the positions. Because you'll see that in Joe Pass's line, he actually goes through a couple positions through the duration of the line. Okay, so after we got arpeggio with our second finger, what we're going to do is we're going to play a half step below each of those notes with our first finger. And so we're still playing all the chord tones with our middle finger, but our first finger is playing all the half step below. Now with our pinky or third finger, we're going to play a scale tone above. So we're going to play, so when we get to the root, we're going to play the second. When we get to the third, we're going to play the fourth. And when we get to the fifth, we're going to play the sixth. And so the second's a whole step above, so we use our pinky. The fourth is a half step above, so we use our third finger. Sixth is a whole step above, so pinky. And then we just repeat that. Then, once we got those core components down, we can combine them. So, for example, what I'll do is I'll do what Joe Pass does. Play the note above, the note below, and then the chord tone. Now I'll do the opposite. I'll play the note below, the note above, and then the chord tone. Then we can take it even further. This is something that Joe Pass actually does a lot, so this is kind of like almost like a bonus line. What Joe Pass does a lot of times is he'll play the note above, the chord tone, note below, and the chord tone, as a 4-note grouping like that. Now, with all this, we're really just kind of scratching the surface of what's possible with the enclosures. If you study the playing of Charlie Parker, Dizzy Gillespie, Joe Pass, Tal Farlow, Jimmy Rainey, any of these guys that come from this lineage, you're going to see a ton of this in their playing. You'll be able to, identify it in almost every line in some cases, because it's used a lot. And there's so much stuff you can do with this. This is just a really basic generalization of what it is, but it'll get you started into thinking about this. And the whole point of this is to make your chord tones sound stronger, and that's why that's the reason it's used. In addition to this line, this Joe Pass line, a really great resource to study this is the melodies of Charlie Parker tunes. A lot of the Charlie Parker tunes are what are called contrafacts, which are new melodies written over old chord progressions, and they did this to avoid having to pay royalties on the tune. I do it, we all do it because it saves money, and it's a cool way to kind of expand the jazz repertoire, but not have to actually learn a new tune. And a great place to study that is the Omni book. I highly recommend anyone interested in bebop grab a copy of this because it's just full. It has its solos transcribed, but also has the melodies transcribed, and a lot of these melodies are full of this stuff. It's for me. This is the way I really learned the bebop vocabulary was just taking these Charlie Parker melodies and just breaking it out measure by measure, and then spending a couple weeks on just one measure of music and integrating that into my playing, and it really made a big impact. Thanks for checking out this lesson. Hope you got something out of it. There's a lot here. It's just a very small introduction to this world, but like I said, it'll get you started. Thanks for checking it out. We'll see you next time.